This section of the Bhagavatam is describing the creation by Brahma. Before Brahma creates, there is the creation of Vishnu. Ultimately, everything begins from Vishnu only. Why? Because before the creation, only Vishnu existed. There was no Brahma, there was no Shiva, there were no demigods, there were no human beings, there were no creatures. Even this world did not exist in this form, in this shape. So, many times there is a doubt in the mind of people when they study the Shastras or they hear different historical incidents from the Puranas. Who is the greatest? Who is the supreme among so many powerful personalities? Who is the greatest? So, if you carefully study the Shastra, among the personalities, you will see three persons who are the greater than all others: Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. These three personalities are the topmost among all other powerful persons. But their power seems to be divided. Brahma is designated as the creator. Vishnu is known to be the maintainer, and Shiva is known to be the destroyer. Now, if you try to analyze, among the three, who is the greatest? Then it is difficult to come to a conclusion just based on knowledge of their powers in terms of creation, maintenance and destruction. Because when the creation is taking place, Brahma is active and he does a wonderful work of creating this whole universe. Creation in terms of generating the various living beings. In terms of maintenance, Vishnu does an excellent job of maintaining the whole creation after it is created. Because creation is difficult because Brahma has to begin from none of the creatures existing. You start from nobody is there. None of the created beings are there. So Brahma does a wonderful job of creation. But after that, maintenance also seems to be very, very big challenge. Because in this world, created world, there are so many opposing things that are constantly in conflict. It's like you take the 5 elements, very simple, to analyze what is the difficulty in maintenance. Water and earth, they cannot coexist actually. Like whenever there is too much of water, there is inundation and it can actually completely drown or submerge the entire creation. That's what happens when destruction takes place at the end of the life of this universe. Water, first of all, submerges all the planets. So water and earth element can never coexist. Similarly, fire and water, can they coexist? No. Even fire and earth. You take any element. If there is a blazing fire, it can burn to ashes anything you put in it. It's just a question of what is the temperature. Just like iron. In a blast furnace, they melt iron. But the temperature has to be highly controlled. If iron melts at a certain temperature, at that temperature only, it has to be maintained so that it is melted and it is formed into whatever shape, whatever alloy has to be prepared, steel, mixing some carbon or mixing some nickel or whatever. And then it has to be cooled very gradually. According to the cooling method, different types of products come out. In the iron and steel industry, this is, you can actually go and see this. If the temperature goes a little up, then the iron will be burned to ashes. Even gold, the goldsmith works on gold. He melts the gold to shape it into different ornaments. He has to very carefully control the temperature. Otherwise, the gold will be burnt away to ashes. In fact, there are Ayurvedic medicines in which gold is burnt into ash, and that bhasma, suvarna bhasma, that is given as a medicine for treatment. So, fire can burn anything. Fire can even burn rocks into ashes. It can burn anything. It can consume any amount of water or earth, provided the fire is a blazing fire. So, how is it that all these elements are simultaneously existing as required? Like when we want to have fire for cooking, we want fire in a controlled way. So depending on the type of control, you will use a certain type of fuel. You can't use any fuel for anything. Like if you use wood for, let us say, generating a fire, then depending on the size or the amount of fire you require, your piece of wood you're going to burn has to be of that size. Big fire, you take a big log and try to light it. You want a small fire, you take a small piece of wood. Is it not? So, controlled way, fire is useful for us. Uncontrolled fire is when there is a fire accident, arson. Then it simply burns away. Even big buildings made of concrete and steel are burnt away by fire. I've seen, personally I've seen, one entire building completely burnt away. Can't believe. World Trade Center is a good example. Completely burnt away by fire. There have been accidents like that. Forest fire sometimes. When there is a fire in the forest, it burns away thousands of acres of forest. Thousands of acres of forest are burnt away. So, fire, unless it is controlled, and that control is the work of Vishnu, controlling all the elements as required. Even water, when it rains Rains, there are two kinds of rains. One is a devastating rainfall, which is employed when there has to be destruction. As I said, it can submerge all the planets, the rains. Otherwise, there is controlled rainfall. Some rain will be there, and after the rain will stop. After whatever quantity of water has to be supplied. Controlled rainfall. So, this control is part of maintenance of Vishnu, ultimately. Of course, Vishnu maintains through the demigods. There are controlling demigods, devatas. But they are all empowered by Vishnu. Vishnu is the real maintainer. They are empowered by Vishnu. So maintenance also is not a small thing. It seems like the devatas are empowered and they are able to maintain this whole universe. But sometimes the devatas express their inability to maintain. When some asura does tapasya and he tries to take control for a wrong purpose, then there is so much disturbance in this world. So this maintenance also, actually it is possible only because of Vishnu taking charge of maintenance. Similarly, destruction is also not a small thing. It's not easy. Destroying the entire creation, because there are millions and billions of planets, each planet having millions of living entities and different gradations of power. The living beings are having different gradations of power, and the whole creation, so much variety is there. The creation is full of variety. To destroy this entire creation completely is no small task. So again, based on this knowledge of creation, maintenance and destruction, you cannot come to a conclusion. Who is the greatest? Brahma, Vishnu or Shiva? So then how do we actually understand? Sometimes people say, oh, all the three are equal. All the three are important. All the three are powerful. Or sometimes they say, oh, all the three are actually manifestation of something beyond them, that is something impersonal. Some impersonal Brahman is only manifesting as Brahma for creation, as Vishnu for maintenance, as Shiva for destruction, the same impersonal Brahman. This is the Mayavada philosophy, which is completely wrong. Completely wrong. To understand this fact, that who is the greatest, or is there a supreme among the three, who is the supreme, ultimate reality, absolute truth? Yes, the scriptures clearly describe. Janmadhyasya Vedanta Sutra. Bhagavatam also describes Janmadhyasya yatonmayati tirtascharthesha vignaswarat. Janma Adi. Janma Adi means Janma is creation. Adi means etc., referring to creation, maintenance and destruction. All the three are made possible by the ultimate source of everything. That is Krishna. So, Krishna is the ultimate truth. ultimate supreme person, ultimate reality beyond even Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. But if you want to understand what is the relationship between Krishna and these three personalities, that is also explained in the Bhagavatam. Ultimately, it is only the Bhagavatam which resolves all such confusion or all such doubts are cleared in the Bhagavatam. Brahma is a living being like any of us, like the demigods, like all the created beings. He is a living entity, Jiva. But he is especially empowered to do the secondary creation called Visarga. The primary creation is done by Mahavishnu. What does primary creation involve? The material energy which is lying dormant is first of all activated by Mahavishnu's glance. In the Vedanta Sutra it is described, Sa Aikshata, Sa Asrujata. Before the creation there is glance of Mahavishnu on the material energy. And that glance produces activates the material energy, and the activation of material energy results in different elements being generated. 16 elements. Earth, water, fire, air, sky, the 10 senses, the mind. It's like that 16 elements of us generated. And Brahma himself is born from Vishnu. Brahma himself is born from Vishnu. Then Brahma is given the knowledge how to create. Brahma is given the power to create. Brahma is given the skill. So the knowledge, the power, the skill, the ingredients for the creation, everything is given to Brahma. Brahma himself is born from Vishnu. So therefore, Brahma is not the independent creator. He is the secondary creator. Then he creates the entire, all the creatures, created beings are generated by Brahma. So Brahma is subordinate to Vishnu, Mahavishnu, and Mahavishnu is an expansion of Krishna, incarnation of Krishna for the purpose of creation, maintenance and destruction. So that's the relationship between Brahma and the Supreme Lord Krishna. Then Vishnu himself is Krishna only, but an incarnation for the specific purpose of this creation, maintenance and destruction. Then Shiva's position is between the position of Vishnu and Brahma. Shiva is not a living being like any of us. He is not a living being like Brahma. Here Shiva is described as the greatest of the Devatas. He is called Mahadeva. Devatas are called Deva. What is Shiva's name? You have heard this, right? Mahadeva. Why is he called Mahadeva? Among all the Devatas, he is the most powerful. Most powerful, even among the Devatas. Now, how is he powerful? That is explained in these set of verses I just now read from this section of the Bhagavatam. So, Shiva's position is, he is the greatest of the Devatas. So, in that sense, he is greater than Brahma. But he is always subordinate to Vishnu. He is always subordinate to Vishnu. So therefore, Shiva's position is between Brahma and Vishnu. So if you want a gradation of power, ultimately, among the three, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, Brahma is more powerful than all the others, but he is not as powerful as Shiva. Shiva is more powerful than Brahma, but Shiva is subordinate to Vishnu. And Vishnu is absolutely powerful, completely independent, supreme person. Supreme personality of Godhead, we say. He doesn't belong even to the category of the living being. We want to understand what is the relative position of these three personalities, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. So Brahma, greater than Brahma is Shiva, greater than Shiva is Vishnu. Vishnu is the supreme. But Vishnu, his form is an incarnation of Krishna. Krishna incarnates in many different forms for different purposes in this world. So one of the first incarnations of Krishna is the incarnation of Vishnu. Many times people think Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. No. Vishnu is the incarnation of Krishna. How can we understand this? Vishnu, incarnation of Vishnu is there in this world only when there is a need for creation, only when there is a need for maintenance, only when there is a need for destruction. Only then Vishnu is present. Otherwise, Vishnu is not there in this world. So, when there is a need for creation, first of all, Vishnu incarnates in this world. This world means the world doesn't exist. So, where will Vishnu appear? He has got his particular place called Karana Ocean. Karana Jala. There is one ocean called Causal Ocean. In that ocean, Vishnu appears or incarnates. And then Vishnu begins the creation by glancing over dormant material energy, which is lying inert. That is where the whole creation begins. Vishnu appears first, incarnates. So, otherwise, before incarnation, where is Vishnu? He is in the spiritual world. As I said, who existed before this creation? Vishnu. But where is he? When the world itself, there is no planets, there are no universes, there are no creatures, there is nobody, there is nothing. Just some material energy is there, inert, lying in a dormant condition. So Vishnu is there in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, Vishnu is there. Vishnu is present in the spiritual world as Narayana. So therefore, there is one Upanishad which describes, before this creation there was only Narayana. There is no Brahma, there is no Shiva, there were no demigods, there were no human beings, there were no created beings at all. There was no earth, there was no water, there was no fire. So the whole Narayana Upanishad describes this, glorifies Narayana as always eternally existing in the spiritual world. But at Narayana, in the spiritual world also, is an expansion of Krishna. That we learn from the Bhagavatam. Ete chamsha kala pumsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Mridayanti Yuge Yuge. The Supreme Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, who expands in so many forms of incarnation for the sake of this world. material world. In the material world, when there is a need, the same Supreme Lord Krishna incarnates as Narsimha, Vamana, Vishnu, and Hayagriva, so many incarnations. And types, there are many types of incarnations also. That's all explained in the Bhagavad. So, Brahma's creation is secondary creation. Brahma creates the creatures. We say creatures. Result of the creation of Brahma. Creatures. So, Shiva, he appears as the son of Brahma. Then somebody may say, if he is the son of Brahma, then how is he superior to Brahma? He appears as the son of Brahma. Actually, he is not subordinate to Brahma just because he has appeared as the son of Brahma. Just like Krishna appears as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. But that doesn't make Krishna subordinate to Vasudeva and Devaki. No. He appears that way. So in that sense, we can say, Shiva incarnates as the son of Brahma. Shiva incarnates as the son of Brahma. But Shiva's role is very, very special. That only Shiva can do, nobody else can do. What is that? He has got 11 principal expansions called Rudras. That is described here. The Rudra principle, Rudra Tattva, we say Rudra Tattva in Sanskrit. In English, Prabhupada translates that as principle, the Rudra principle. So how did he appear? When Brahma became angry due to his sons, the 4 Kumaras, refusing to become family men. Because Brahma was in the process of creating progeny, populating the world. And he expected that his obedient sons will assist him in this procreation by agreeing to properly get married and have children. Good progeny, Sat Santana. Generally, everybody wants good children. But the sons of Brahma, the 4 Kumaras, refused to get married. They didn't want to get entangled in family life. So, of course, they refused because they were spiritually advanced. Not because they didn't want to undertake any responsibility, no. Not irresponsibly they refused. They refused out of a higher consideration of pursuing self-realization, remaining celibate, remaining brahmacharis, naishtika brahmacharis. So the scriptures explain, if somebody refuses to marry or somebody refuses to follow the father's order to get married, it is proper only if it is for a spiritual purpose. That is, for pursuing self-realization, one decides to remain naishtika brahmachari. So the Kumaras, Brahma could understand. He became unhappy when his sons refused, but he could understand their refusing because they are spiritually advanced. So Brahma, he tried to control his anger because it's not proper for him to express his anger in front of his sons who are spiritually very advanced. So what did he do? He tried to control his anger, but the anger was so much that it could not be completely controlled. it came out between his eyebrows. And what came out was a child. Another son was born of Brahma. He was Rudra or Shiva. This Rudra is of a mixed color, blue and red, Neela Lohita. The blue color represents the mode of ignorance, and the red color represents the mode of passion. So he is mixed passion and ignorance, which is representative of anger. Anger is a product of passion and ignorance. When passion degrades into ignorance, the result is krodha. Kama, when degraded into the mode of ignorance, kama is the result of the mode of passion. Kama esha, krodha esha, rajoguna samudbhavaha. Mahashano mahapapma vidhi enam iha vairinam. In the Bhagavad Gita, in the 3rd chapter, Krishna describes karma as a result of passion. Lust is a result of passion. But when lust is degraded by the mode of ignorance, then it turns into anger, krodha. So therefore, Rudra, anger, is a result of passion and ignorance. And this Rudra principle, when Rudra was generated, he began to cry. And he asked his father, Brahma, kindly designate my name and place. So Brahma pacified him and said, yes, I will designate your name and place. So he said, I have selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon. "11 places and 11 names. So these places are the places of residence of Rudra. That means anger can be seen in these places. In the living being who expresses anger, the heart is the first place where anger first of all appears in a person. What is that representation of anger in the heart? It is the egocentric attitude or ahankara. Everybody has got ahankara. What is this ahankara? This conception that I am something other than the soul. Actually, each one of us is the soul, spirit soul. But under the influence of the material nature, Maya's influence, we forget. We forget Krishna, we forget ourselves as spirit soul. Both we forget. And after this forgetfulness, we think in terms of I am something other than spirit soul. So what is that something I am? I think that is described as ahankara. There is a sense of being or feeling that I am something other than the spirit soul. So that first of all one identifies I am the body. And then gradually this expands, ahankara expands as I am something in addition to being the body. Just like due to being the body, a person thinks I am man or I am woman. But we also develop this ahankara more and more by thinking, oh, I am an intelligent person, or I am a very kind person, or I am a very powerful person, or I am very smart person, or I am very great person. So all these extensions get added, and that is the expanding of ahankara. This ego becomes very, very much increased. And that is what you see in the world. There is always this ego clash between two people. Maybe one person is very kind, but then when he sees his kindness is defeated by somebody else's kindness, he becomes so envious. Becomes so envious of the other person. This ego clash. Kindness exhibited due to ego. Supposing somebody has a lot of wealth, and out of some sentiment he may decide, let me try to give some charity or help some poor people because I have got excess of wealth. Very good, very noble thought. But if that giving charity is to earn respect in society, oh, he is so charitable, he's so noble, he's so kind, he's so compassionate, he's such a nice man, he wants to hear that. Then he sees somebody else is doing more and he's getting all the respect, I am not getting anything at all. Then he becomes envious, or he becomes depressed. He becomes, what is the use of doing for these people? They have no sense of even expressing gratitude towards what I am doing. So he becomes either depressed or angry, or becomes envious, or thinks this world nobody deserves to be shown any kindness, they have no value, like that. So these are all expressions of one's ego. So as I said, the ego is hurt. One of the ways a person expresses this hurt ego is anger. Anger in the heart. And that anger also further manifested through the senses. Like the eyes. When somebody is angry, eyes become red hot. Or their hands, to the hands, clench fist, or they even hit somebody when they are very angry using their hands. Like Hiranyakashipu, when he became very angry against Prahlad. So he asked, is your God there? He said, everywhere God is there. Is he there in this pillar? He said, yes. Immediately clenched fist, he hit the pillar and out came Narasimha. So, clenched fist is expression of anger in the senses. Eyes are sense of perception. Hands and legs are senses of action. So, Jnanendriya, Karmendriya, Indriya. Or leg, somebody kicks using the leg when they become very angry. That is expression of anger through the legs, like that. Then expression of anger in the air of life, pranavayu. When breathing, sometimes somebody who is angry will breathe very heavily. Before they take some step, no? You can see them breathing very heavily. Right? They're trying to sometimes control the anger, they cannot control the anger. The breathing will be very heavy. It will not be normal breathing. Correct? So that is expression of anger in the air of life, prana. And then expression of anger in the sky. The sky is overcast with dense clouds. And then there is the thunder, the roaring sound of thunder before a very, very, very heavy rain. There will be so much of lightning and thunder in the sky. That is anger expressed in the sky. Then anger expressed in the air. When the wind blows very fiercely, cyclone, storm, wind will blow at such a speed, there will be devastation due to such wind. When gentle breeze is required, we cannot live without it. Air has to be gently blowing always. But when air becomes too much, the speed of air, then there is violent winds. Storm, tornado, cyclone, so many different terms they have depending on the speed. So that is expression of Rudra principle in the air. Then expression of Rudra principle in the fire. Already I have told the example. Blazing fire, uncontrolled fire. It will consume anything and everything. At the end, when there is devastation, Sankarshana, actually, who is at the bottom of the universe, he generates fire from his mouth in the form of Shesha, Ananta Sesha. He's got thousands of mouths. And from the mouth he generates fire. That fire sets blazing all the planets. All the planets. Everything is burnt away. All the planets. That's how destruction takes place. Then, that is expression of Rudra principle in fire. Then water, devastating rainfall, or tsunami even. We have seen, we have heard at least, or seen, even some of you would have seen, Chennai residents. At least in TV you would have seen. Would they show in TV? Yeah. So when this water in the ocean, by the order of the Supreme, it is contained within the border of the ocean. Otherwise, none of the cities on the shore can survive. Chennai will not be existing as Chennai. It can get completely inundated by tsunami or by the waves. In the ocean, constantly there are waves. Always there are waves. But always the waves are checked at the shore. They will never cross the high tide line. Except, of course, during tsunami, when there is a natural calamity. Otherwise, it will not cross. So, water also, when Rudra principle is exhibited in water, either devastating rainfall or this ocean overfloods. Overflooding of the ocean. Then, Rudra principle in the earth. Earth also, when there is earthquake, volcano. You know what a volcano is? Suddenly the earth will burst open in some place, either top of a mountain or some mines and all that. And suddenly there will be so much of molten liquid metals coming out, or red hot rocks coming out and thrown everywhere. Volcanoes, or even earthquake. Devastating earthquake can be there. Very, very bad earthquake. So that is Rudra principle expressed through the earth. Then Rudra principle expressed in the sun. Heat stroke. The temperatures in summer, when they increase beyond a certain limit,